All right. Good morning. Today, I'm going to be taking a look at one of my favorite openings, which is the Sicilian Kalashnikov. Fortunately, at lower level ratings, no one really knows the response. So let's take a look at it from the black side. I'm going to turn off the analysis because it's not so incredibly useful for openings. So the book that I'm using is Sicilian Kalashnikov by Jan Pinsky and Jacob Agard, and it's one of my favorite chess books. So we start off with an open Sicilian, which is this. So even at lower levels, most players don't know this. Hold on one second. All right. So even at lower levels, you don't really see d4 because for some reason everyone drills in their head that Sicilian's super scary and stay away. So fucking obnoxious. So they all play pussy shit like c3, like Alapin, or they play stupid shit like this where they just develop so they can castle, and then you knock their shit around like this, and then they have to do this, which also is another just bitch move, which is this, the Rossalimo. So just a bunch of whack shit. But then when you start playing higher rated opponents, they finally man up and play real chess and get some open Sicilian. So from here you have a few things. You have the accelerated dragon. You have this move right here, which is going to be standard, and it's going to lead to a lot of stuff like the Najdorf or the dragon. You also have the accelerated dragon, I think right here. But this is the Lowenthal variation, and then a subset of Lowenthal. So if you were to actually play mainline Lowenthal, it would be this move right here. And then from there, play something like this. And from here, you have a couple moves. You have this queen here. I think queen right here is really your best bet. From here, you have, I think this is fashionable right now, c7, but you also have just queen back to here. And then eventually you pull your queen there, I think. So, but we're going to stick to Kalashnikov, which is d6, and this move prevents Lowenthal, this knight coming here. So from here, the main line is c4, which is also part of the Sveshnikov main line. Sveshnikov used to be c3, so you'll see sometimes players playing c3 that play the Sveshnikov. But c4 is actually the best move, so that they can bring their knight here and also bring this knight here, maneuver it there. So this knight's probably going to find an outpost here. I'm not going to talk about the different pluses and minuses of this. It's clear to see that you have some positional deficits that you're playing with, but it's so obvious that I don't really give a shit. So the next one is knight on 1 to c3. So this is a very natural move. So people who don't know the main line of c4, I would say 90% of them play this. Occasionally you see some weird move like that back to there. But knight on 1 to c3 is natural. Then the line that I always play, kicking this back to here, it's going to eventually bring this here. Then b5, threatening this fork. So Immediately, we're getting a lot of space. They're moving their pieces around. This piece is offsides, although it will come to the center. So, and then I play the knight on C to E7. This move. Now here, people normally stop and think for a little bit. Once you see this move, it becomes pretty obvious. Protecting this, also giving this a place to reroute. And putting pressure on these pawns. So a lot of times black is playing where these pawns get wiped off, and there's probably 2 pawns here that you have to contend with. However, you get a strong, quick attack. So it's almost like a gambit line in some situations. So C4, and now I always recapture. A lot of times you get this move right here, which threatens this. I'm sorry, threatens this. You have that move right there. And you get something like this. Typically, I see a lot of. We're going to take a look at a game right now where after this move, queen comes into here. Basically, you have this threat. I think in that game, it's something like this. So we'll take a look. It's something like that. Here. I can't remember. All right. Well, so that being said, I also want to take a look at instead of C4, this bishop move. This is Stockfish recommended, I think. C4. Yeah, so it's going between the 2. Yeah. So it looks like it recommends bishop G5. So a lot of times with like a lower rated opponent, if you're playing online, you see bishop G5. A lot of times they're using a computer against you, which is always fun. So, however, in this line, let me just open the book real quick. Okay, so there are, looks like a couple moves after bishop G5. H6 is the first one that this book recommends, and then bishop E6 being the second. So we take a look at this H6 move. It actually gets pretty crazy. Sacrifice and exchange, and you're down a couple pawns, but positionally it says you're okay. So H6, bishop check, and then recapture, knight takes, threatening, of course, this move right here, which is going to be devastating. So what is recommended is this move, rook A7. There's also the alternative, rook A6, but we take a look at rook A7 for a little bit. Knight recaptures, and I think queen check is what's played. No, knight F6, is that right? Oh yeah, queen. Let's see. Yeah, knight takes. Queen A5 check. Queen D2. Queen takes A7. Bishop B3. Queen B7, hitting that pawn. And knight B6. From here, we're going to have to move this bishop out of the way. Let's see, what is the recommended move? Knight B6, knight E6. And now we have these 2 passed pawns to contend with. D5 and A5. So this was a game between some guy who has the name MKRTCHIAN. So I guess not a fan of vowels in whatever fucking country he's from. Makarturchev. All that noise in the background is the dishes being done. No one listens, so I guess it doesn't matter. So if we go back and take a look, there's some other alternatives. So, for instance, let's see. Take a look at Rook A6. Then we have this. This check. King D7. Queen G4 check. F5. E takes F5. Knight F6. Bishop F6. Doesn't say bishop takes on here, but it's just a typo. Then castles. D5. Oh. No, I can be right. It's got to be. D5. D5. B7. Yeah, it's going to be right. Okay. Well, this was a game in Munich between Kinderman and Bischoff in Munich. It says position unclear, but it seems pretty fucking clear to me that that's horrible. So, all right. Let's see. Rook takes A7, but instead, if Rook takes A7, if they have D to C7 check right here. Rook takes, knight takes D6 check, queen takes, let's see. Oh, then D6, and queen takes D6, queen takes D6, rook C6, or, sorry, yeah, rook C6. Surprisingly, this is okay, I guess, because we have 3 minor pieces for the queen, but there's also a bunch of pawns gone. I wouldn't want to play this as black. I mean, the computer's saying it's fine, but I'm not a computer. This just seems horrible. So from here, we have the 4 minor pieces for a queen and 4 pawns, which just seems crazy. So, it says this position's equal. I don't trust it. So let's take a look at this alternative move. Bishop G5. So, here. All right, so Bishop G5 and E6. So then from here, the book recommends C3. Let's see. Oh, no, this is actually playing a game. The correct move is C4. But in this game that we're taking a look at, between Mercurian, Khrushchev, and Moscow, 1996. So we have C3, H6, H4, G5, exclam, Bishop G3, F5. So this F5 is a common pawn break, as is this D5. F5 is nice. It leads to a nice attack on the king side. So now here, knight takes e7, knight takes e7, to on this, and also preparing this. And it says black is slightly better. So saying it's about even. But this is a nice, I would like to play this as, sorry, I would like to play this as black. Seems very comfortable. So I wonder if we have a draw. Yeah. So this is really nice. We got a lot of space, more pieces, and this bishop is pretty bad. I have to do something with that to get it out of the game, into the game. So this knight's protecting that guy. Oh, well, not bad. All right, let's take a look at some games in this line. Okay, so let's start from here. Okay, so this game that we're going to take a look at is Bologan Sveshnikov from Riga, 1995. We all know Riga and tall. So here we are, move 8. Now plays the move c4. Knight takes d5, queen takes. So the correct move in this position is e takes. And then from here, I think I recapture like that. So, and then maybe knight f6. Bishop d5 is supering. Huh. All right, so that's just one line that could be played with the e takes d5. But however, queen takes was played here. And so you have this move. Yeah, so this is a computer recommended. And then from here, knight f6. Or possibly takes. Let's see. Queen here. I think it would probably take. Right. Because you get this move, which is annoying. So now I have these two passed pawns. But I get the d5 break. So all right. So queen takes d5, bishop e6. And in this game, they're playing queen d7. So queen d1, the book recommends queen d1 is a wiser choice with equality. So right here, white might win a pawn on the queen side, which they will. But it will also suffer from an attack in the center. So when we get this d5 move and then all of our pieces developed, it's going to be a nice attack. So it's better to have the attack in the center than to win one of these pawns on the queen side, just because this line is so sharp. So here, knight f6, and c takes b5. So here it plays rook b8. However, instead of c takes b5, I want to take a look at this move, bishop g5. From here, bishop e7, c takes b5, knight takes e4, queen c6 check, because if bishop takes e7. Then we have queen a5 check. And this is going to be just a mess. What is this? Yeah. So right here we have forced mate here, and you can't do this because this is checkmate instantly. So king has to either come to d3 or there we go. Boom. And if king goes to d3, the same concept over here. Ta-da. So that is why. So that's why queen is forced to take A, and queen gives a check. So you can see already this is pretty good for black. At one point, it was saying it was pawn up. This analysis. I mean, they're 24 moves deep, and they're able to be about equal. So from here, obviously, we're going to play this move. Bishop d7. Queen takes e4. Bishop takes g5. Knight c4. And bishop e7. So this says it gives black the advantage due to the problems the white king will soon face. So yeah, it's in a little in black's favor. Still about even, equal. I'm not strong enough to be able to really take advantage of a 0.3. Remember, that's pretty much equal to me. So here we go. All right. Rook b8. Queen takes a6. d5. Now we start seeing this maneuvering. So rook to c2. Rook a8. And queen c6 with a question mark next to it. So this seems to be the losing move, it says, although it says they're about equal. Better was queen b7. Although this gives it says this is better, but computer analysis is saying this is better. So let's take a look. Queen b7. We have rook c2 hitting this. Okay. Sorry, hold on. No, queen c8. d3, protecting that. If instead we were to have e3, we would get this bishop b4 check. You can see that we're absolutely annihilating them right now. b4, d2, a5, right here, which is it says very dangerous for white. However, it looks like a stronger move would have been this. King takes. This is much nicer. So same kind of concept as before with this check coming here. So this rook stops it. But if we were to do something like this, I wonder. All right, let's check it right there. So instead, this move has to be played. And then rook c7, queen a6, d takes e4. Because if this takes, and we're still hitting this. B6. Queen takes D3. Queen takes D3. Says if instead rook or queen A8 check, we have C8, B7, D8, threatening mate, and then what is this? Absolutely crushing. So queen takes, and you can see already here black has an amazing advantage. All right, queen takes, recaptures, bishop takes c7. This, and the endgame seems to favor black, it says. Substantially, it looks like. This is really good for so this bishop pair for the rook and 2 pawns is going to be enough to convert. So, because we have a really open board, and the more open a board gets, the stronger the bishop pair becomes. This is still going to be a long, drawn-out game, for sure. Okay, so we were at queen c6, bishop blocks, queen c3, rook c8, it's forced to here or here, b3, nope, this. So it says equally bad is bishop takes e5 check. Then with this, blocking the check, d3, d takes e4, bishop d6. Let's see if that's possible. D takes e4, bishop takes. There we go. That makes more sense. Bishop d6, queen d4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4, rook c4, queen e2, queen c7, hitting this guy, king d1, castle. And it says it is highly unlikely white will be able to survive the forthcoming attack down the open files. Yeah. So this is fairly crushing. I mean, something like this. What happens if I were to take here? So we're up a full rook, down. We still have to contend with these pawns right here. All right. All right, so that's how we resolve that. So queen b3. Knight takes e4. Queen takes e5. And rook takes c2. So much stronger was this move right here. And because of king takes, we have this right here. And it just becomes a nightmare. Actually just take right here. Queen takes. Nope. Shit. There we go. No. All right. Rook takes c2. So rook c2 was played. Instead, queen takes e4. In this game, bishop f5 was played. So if this takes, then we have this right here. So we'll just play to keep this rook on here. It was actually a really nice tactical move. Then this gets a question mark next to it. As you can see, that's a pretty big blunder. Bishop c5, bishop e2, castles, queen b3, queen a5 check, king f1, and you can see this really start to dwindle. King f1, rook d8, bishop g5, rook takes e2. It says the final combination. Now white is chopped into pieces. Here, d3 check. King f3 is what it recommends. Right here, e4 check, g3, queen b6, h3. So here it says not so difficult to play is this move right here. But then we have a forced mate. So it would be very difficult to find over the board unless you are stockfish. That's why this move is not played. Instead, I'll play h3. Let's play h3 was played. We're saying this. We're also saying f4. Even though this check, it's still pretty bad. So h3 was played. And from here, bishop takes f2. And then g4. Equally hopeless, it says, is g3, as shown here, because queen g6, a bishop h4, queen f5 check, g4, f3, bishop g3, rook d6, coming over here, g5, e3, and that is game over. Because it's 8-16 at this point. G4 was played. And from here, h5, queen d1, rook d5, exclam, bishop f4, and here e3 is played. So this is crushing. Yeah, this is much better. So at this point, white resigned. So let's take a look at another game. This is a lot of fun. So this is Klovans versus Milov, Germany 1966, e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, e5, knight vd5. It's weird that it would recommend this. Yeah, there we go. So in the openings, there's so many moves to look for. In the way that chess engines work, it's like a tree where it has to prune branches. So it actually takes a really long time for chess engines to find the optimal opening moves. So here we go. A6, knight c5. Here we go. c4. Knight takes d5. E takes d5. So we're going to be looking at one of the better games, knight f6. So here we go. We have best possible play. Everything at this point is theory. I mean, this is not a main line, but this whole thing is theory with knight coming here and knight coming back to here. So actually with this coming to here. So looking good. E takes d5. E takes c4. Knight f6. Now we play bishop e3 and rook b8. Queen a4 check. So it says this exchange favors black, it seems. As we'll see in the next game, black has a much more difficult time defending against the quiet move e2. So from here, queen d7. Queen takes. D6. And bishop b5. Exclaim. So black is forced to take this exchange. The more inventive bishop f5 with the idea of e4 hitting this fails to this move f3. So rook or bishop c8, knight takes c8, bishop, or I'm sorry, knight takes d5, bishop to d2, and then rook recaptures. Bishop b8. Rook c4, bishop c4. And so now it's saying this is better for white because they're going to have the bishop pair on this pretty open board. So this is going to be really rough for black to play against. Yeah. So everything's just getting kicked around over and over. No bueno. Yeah, I would not like this. Would not like this for black. So you have these two connected outside pass pawns. Opposite colored bishops, so not a lot of winning chances for black. Really. All right, I'm gonna have to finish this game later. I have to go into work, even though it's Sunday. I go check on a project, make sure it's moving ahead. So, all right, I'll post another part of this.